What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Your Average Noob. My name is Brandon, and today I got a big announcement. Today is actually the day where I make my UAL announcement video and my team analysis. I'm going to do it all in one video. I didn't feel like making a video for the announcement of the league and then the team analysis. I'm just going to make it all in one video. Basically, the couple of the guys who I do the GBA analysis stuff with, they wanted to start their own league, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'll go into a league. So we're calling it the UAL, the Universal Analysts League. It's starting up. I think our first games are going to be all going on, getting posted this Sunday. And yeah, I am the coach of the Toronto Smeargles. Now, I guess the inspiration behind the team name was it was a really easy logo to make, and I didn't really feel like commissioning out a logo. So I'm like, I'll make it something simple, and the Toronto Smeargles happened. So we did the draft over the course of like 4 days, I want to say, and it actually went pretty smoothly. Like, there's some guys in different time zones, so we had to like take a couple breaks here and there, but this draft went actually really well. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time. I'm going to get right into it. It's a 12-team league. There's a bunch of other smaller YouTubers, a lot of some smaller YouTubers, some analysts from the GBA. I know, so it's gonna be a good time. So I'm gonna get to my first time playing in a league format, my first time drafting a team for a league format. I didn't realize how hard drafting was. It's extremely hard, and I had a difficult time with it. And I think the team I put together, it lacks in speed and it lacks in pivots, but I'm gonna try and make it work. And if I can't, well, I'll try and fix it during the season. But what am I gonna do? It's my first draft, so I did what I could, but I got some Pokemon I really wanted to use, and that was probably the biggest thing I wanted to do. I really wanted to use a certain couple Pokemon, so I made sure I got them. So, without any further ado, let's get into the draft analysis. Alright, so when we got the draft order came out, and I was picking second. And I'm like, great, that's awesome, I can pick second, and what am I going to take now? Because I'm feeling like, okay, I got second pick, I need to pick something good. So my first thought was maybe one of the Pixie Legendaries, like mythical Pokemon. I was probably gonna go with Victini, and of course Victini was the first Pokemon taken. So I'm like, okay, I had a second option. My second option was Latios, so I ended up taking Latios with my first pick. Now this is also GBA style picking and GBA style rules and all that. So Latios is my tier 1. I took my tier 1 first, obviously. So Latios I really wanted just because it can break walls, it can be defensive, it can do a lot of stuff. It just offers a lot of things and that you really want in a tier 1 mon. You want to be able to bring a tier 1 mon to any game you play, and I feel like Latios really does that. It has the ability to defog, it has the ability to break down special walls, it has the ability to break down walls just in general. You know, now that I think about it, maybe I should have called it Jericho just because it can break down walls. But no, we're going to call our Latios Aqua just because I'm probably going to bring shiny ones. This is also a showdown league. I will eventually want to kind of get into a league that uses Wi-Fi once I get a capture card. But for now, this is a showdown league, and I'm more than happy to be doing it. So my next pick, I wanted something that I wanted to actually continue with Fairy Steel Dragon Core. And I had the Dragon and Latios, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a Fairy, because Fairies always go really quickly in Counter League format, so I'm like, okay, I need to get a decent Fairy. And my first thought was, of course, Sylveon, but Sylveon ended up going before my next pick. Of course, it was a Snake format draft, so it was a while after I got that second pick till the draft came back to me, so I had to wait quite a bit, and Sylveon, of course, went. So I'm like, alright, that's not a big deal, I'll take Togekiss. So I ended up getting Togekiss with my second pick, and Togekiss, yet another defogger, so I have quite a couple ways to take out rocks or spikes or any entry hazards with this team. Togekiss, look at its name. Its name is going to be Don't Move, and that's because if I have to, I'm going to use it to flinch people. I don't even care. I'm going to put the Serene Grace on. I might put a King's Rock on it. I'll put Air Slash on it. I might even run Extra Sensory if I have to. If I need to, I'll use it that way. If I don't, maybe I'll use it in some other ways. I guess we're going to have to find out. I really like Togekiss, though. It can do a whole bunch of stuff. I like it using it as a Cleric, too, because it can really take some hits. And now that it got that Fairy typing, you know, it's nice to take some hits. You can use it to heal Bell, you can use it to wish, you can wish pass with it. It does a whole bunch of stuff, which I'm really looking forward to using. Now, I wanted to round out the Dragon Fairy Steel Core, but I'm like, I can probably wait on the Steel type. I had a Steel type I really wanted in mine. So I was like, okay, I'll wait on the Steel type, and I'll start a Grass, Water, Fire core, because I want to try out these cores. I've never done a draft league before, so I'll try out, make a Fire, Water, Grass core and a Dragon, Fairy, Steel core. So I'm like, I'll start on a Water, Grass, Fire core. Ugh. So the first Pokemon I picked, it was still hanging around there in the 3rd round, so I'm like, yeah, I gotta take it. It's still there. I have to take it. It's Milotic. Ever since I've watched Shady Penguin use Milotic back in, I think it was Season 4 of the GBA, or yeah, Soccer. I think he actually franchised it in Season 5 too, so I loved Milotic. I loved the way Shady used Sakura. It was so good when he used it, and I'm like, I want to see what I can do with it now. I've seen so many people use it so well. I want to see what I can do with it. I love to use it personally as a defensive Pokemon, something that can really take hits, soak them up, and of course I like to mirror coat things. I'm not gonna lie there. If I bring my Milotic, it's more than likely gonna have mirror coat on. I'm just gonna say, but it also plays games with your opponent, right? Because like you can bring in Milotic and they're like, oh, I can't really attack. It's gonna mirror coat me. He's gonna put enough defensive EVs in it where it's gonna take it and then take out whatever I'm trying to kill it with, and then I have to work without that. And so it's like I can play mind games with it. I'll bring out Milotic in a way that says I have mirror coat, but maybe I won't have mirror coat. Who knows? So I really wanted to try out Milotic. I haven't used Milotic a lot in competitive. I've only used it in game really ever. So Milotic was that Pokemon I thought of when I thought of doing a draft league. I'm like, I want to use Milotic. I've never used it. I want to use it now. And our Milotic is going to be called Serpentera. And if you know what that reference is, let me know in the comment section down below, because I'd like to see if anybody else knows it. It's from one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So if you get the, if you understand the nickname Serpentera, let me know. Now, of course, again, I had that really long gap in between my picks, and I'm sitting there waiting for the picks, and I'm looking at the Pokemon that are left, and I'm like, okay. And one Pokemon stuck out above the rest, and I'm like, okay, I already have a Psychic type. Do I really need another Psychic type? I'm going to take this Psychic type Pokemon because I doubt it's going to be around much longer. And for some reason, like, I've totally forgotten about this Pokemon until I started watching Counter League formats and seeing those things. And I'm like, oh my god, this Pokemon's so good. And I almost forgot about it just in-game and, like, a lot of competitive play because you don't see it as much. And that's Reuniclus. And ever since I've started watching Counter League leagues, I guess, I've started to notice how good Reuniclus is, and I almost forgot about it as a Pokemon before. And now that I've watched all these, like the GBA, the UCL, the NPA, the PPL, the TBU, and I'm like, oh my god, Reuniclus is so good. So I'm like, yeah, I'm taking Reuniclus. It's still there, and I think there was a couple guys. We had a Discord chat going on. A couple guys are like, oh, there goes Reuniclus. It's gone. Everybody, prepare yourselves. So I'm like, yes. I have Reuniclus. I can do some fancy stuff with that. I already have some plans to do it. I'm not going to really go into much detail what I want to do with it. Let me just say I'm really happy to have it, and I'm looking forward to what I can do with it. But I will tell you that during the Discord chat, somebody's like, well, yeah, we got that 20 base speed. I'm like, here, listen up, okay? Reuniclus is basically the Rebel Wilson of Pokemon. Now, if you don't know who Rebel Wilson is, just go Google it, you'll find her, and you'll say, okay, and I've seen her before. So I'm like, Reuniclus is the Rebel Wilson of Pokemon. She gets to the party, and everybody's like, oh, look at her, she can't move very fast, she probably doesn't do much, and then just Reuniclus takes over the party. It's the Rebel Wilson of Pokemon. So all my Reunicluses this season are going to be named Rebel Wilson. So 2 picks go by because we're snaking again, so I'm like, all right, time to round out this Fairy Dragon Steel Core, and I'm like, okay, there's a couple Steelmons left. The Steelmon I wanted was actually Mega Aggron. I was going to take Mega Aggron. I'm like, oh yes, that filter ability, it's going to be so good. That's going to be such a good core. And then I think the couple, like halfway I was waiting through my picks and Mega Aggron went. I was like, oh no, oh my heart, oh it hurts so bad. But I'm like, okay, what can I take in place of Mega Aggron? Now, at this point, I'm like, do I really mind having a ×4 fire weakness? I'm like, not really, I'm okay with it. So I took one of the best bug steel type, well, I took one of the best steel types in the game, but it's not one of the best bug steel types, because I would say Scizor or Mega Scizor are better, but I took Escavalier. And Escavalier, what it did was give me a really good steel type for a pretty good price. It's tier 4, it cost me 60 points, we had 1,000 points to play with, Escavalier cost me 60 points. I'm like, that's nothing for a really good steel type that I really enjoy using. I have quite a bit of experience using Escavalier, especially Assault Vest Escavalier. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I can take out fairies, no problem with it. It's a great knockoff Pokemon. I've got, I can get ground coverage with Drill Run. I can get bug coverage because it's obviously a bug. I can get Mega Horn coverage. I can, if I don't want to, you know, risk the accuracy, I can get X Scissor. But I got a great Pokemon in Escavalier. It doesn't do as much as I would like a Steelmon to do, but it does just enough where I'm really happy with the fact that I got it. And the fact that I really enjoy using it, and I have used it before, I think is going to benefit me in the format that way. And of course, I couldn't name my Escavalier anything but LeBron. So at this point, I'm looking at my draft, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my Melodic. I'm like, okay, I probably should get a Grass and a Firemon to put around my Melodic. And the Firemon I want, I know is not going to go. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a Grassmon before all the good ones are gone. So I picked up Venusaur with my next pick. And Venusaur is just... look at the name. Like, if you don't know what a Sequoia is just a huge tree that's hard to take down. And Venusaur is basically the same thing. I know I don't get the thick fat ability that the Mega gets, but I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely getting Venusaur because the thing is a beast. It's really hard to take down. And yeah, I'm still rocking the fire and ice weaknesses, but anything else, it's just going to soak up hits no problem. And I'm really, really a fan of that. And I love Venus. I like using Venusaur. I like the fact that, you know, I can get the Leech Seed. It's got reliable recovery and synthesis. I can get the Giga Drain. I can get the Sludge Bomb for my fairy coverage. I can run physical Venusaur. I can run Knockoff. I can run Earthquake. I could run Swords Dance Venusaur. I think I want to run Swords Dance Venusaur at some point this season. But I digress. So Venusaur is going to play a big role this season. I know it. He's going to be at most games you'll find. And Venusaur's nickname, of course, is going to be Sequoia because he's going to be a bitch to take down most weeks. So in the next round, I'm going in thinking maybe I'll get a Rapid Spinner just in case I don't want to get rid of my hazards as well as their hazards. So I decided to pick up Hitmontop because it was a good, it's a good defensive Pokemon. Again, not very fast. My team is not very fast by any means, which might come back to bite me in the ass and you know, as I go through the season. But I really wanted to use Hitmontop. I've seen Hitmontop used. I've seen it used well. So I'm like, I want to give it a shot. I want to see what I can do with it. I don't know exactly a whole bunch that it does. I'm going to have to do some more research on Hitmontop. But once I do, I think I will be able to use it. I don't think it's going to be a Pokemon I bring every week, but I think it will be a Pokemon that I bring in certain situations where I'm like, okay, they're going to be bringing, you know, rocks to hurt my Togekiss. They're going to be bringing rocks to hurt other Pokemon that I'm bringing that are weak to rocks. I need to get it out of there without maybe taking out my own entry hazards. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get the Hitmontop and, you know, have that option to Rapid Spin instead of Defog with my Latios or Defog with my Togekiss. And also, Hitmontop's name is going to be Old Man Top after Old Man Top. I think he had a Hitmontop. No, somebody had a Hitmontop named Hitmontop, but I decided to go Old Man Top for Hitmontop. So the next round comes, and I'm like, okay, I need an electric type, and I need something that can pivot. So I'm like, okay, I can take Raichu, but Raichu's just, it doesn't, I'm not a big fan of Raichu. I never liked using Raichu. And there was a Pokemon on the board that I've never used, but I really wanted to use after watching George, aka Sceptile MC, use last year, and that's regular form Rotom. I like the fact that it can Volt Switch out. I like the fact that it has a little bit different kind of moves than its other forms. I like the fact that I can Will-O-Wisp with it. Of course, I want to Volt Switch with it. That's really what I want. I like the fact I can Shadow Ball with it. I like the fact that it's a spin block. I like the fact, you know, I like a lot of things about Rotom. So I'm like, yeah, I just want to take it. I want to use it. I want to see how it does. It's a tier 5 electric, so again, it was really, really cheap. So I think it would cost me like, what, 40 points, and that's really nothing for a Volt Switcher. If I can actually do some damage with it, that's going to be a god dang bargain, right? And I think I'm going to name the Rotom's Motorhead after the band Motorhead, and since Rotom is motor backwards, so I'm very clever like that. Can't you see? Anyways, so I think we got to pick 98, and I'm like, okay, I think it's time to pick my Mega because the points I'm using to pick my other Pokemon aren't going to make any sense if I don't pick it now. So I had a pretty good feeling the Pokemon I wanted afterwards weren't going to get taken, so I'm like, I'm going to take my Mega and just kind of, I wanted to see people's reaction when I took the Mega that I took. And the Toronto Smeargles went up at the 98th pick and were like, yo, what's going on? We're taking Mega Camerupt. And everybody's like, okay. Everybody kind of like, what the hell's he doing? My ridiculously slow team got even slower with Mega Camerupt with that base 20 speed, and like, now I understand people are gonna be like, what the hell are you doing? These are Pokemon that apparently Pokemon that I want to use are really slow for some reason. And I don't know why. So I took Mega Camera up, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, this team's so slow. But you know what? I'm going to try and make it work. I've been using Mega Camera up a little bit. I'm not to a lot of success, but I need to. I don't think I put the right team around it. Mega Camera up, it gives me some sort. I put this lightly, but it kind of gives me some Sun team concepts here with the Venusaur. I can put Chlorophyll on the Venusaur. I can put Sunny Day somewhere, and then I get Mega Camera up. Sheer Force Mega Camera up in the Sun will absolutely destroy most things. A Fire Blast in the Sun from a Mega Camera up with Sheer Force, you're taking a chunk of damage. I don't care whether I don't care what you are, unless you're an Assault vested Suicune with a couple Calm Minds up, you're taking a chunk. And like Mega Camera up hits like a freaking truck, and its stats are really good. If it had any speed whatsoever, it would be so much more used. And I want to see if I can get past the speed of Mega Camera up, and we're gonna make Mega Camera up great again. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. We're gonna make Mega Camera up great because I don't know if it's ever been great before. We get to the last 2 picks of the draft, and there's still some power on the board, and I'm like, okay, I need something like really break through some walls here too. Like, I got a lot of good defensive mons, but I need a couple like really hard-hitting mons. And one I needed, I'm like, okay, I also need some priority, some more priority. So I'm like, okay. So my first pick did not cover the priority part of it, but I got Porygon Z or Z, depending on where you're from. I call it Z, but I'm Canadian. I should call it Z, but I digress. That doesn't matter. So I got Porygon Z. I love Porygon Z. You can do a lot of things with it. It's got a great ability and adaptability. Porygon Z, adaptability, Tri-Attack, hits like a monster. There's other things Porygon Z can do. We can tinker around with Porygon Z. For the most part, people are going to know what Porygon Z is going to do. It's a matter if they can stop it or not. So that's going to be the biggest thing for people to figure out going around Porygon Z. I also forgot to mention that Mega Camera Up's nickname is going to be Armageddon because it will end things, hopefully. And Porygon Z's nickname is actually going to be Heartbleed, which is actually I think it was a name of a computer virus that like got into like Canadian banks. So like I think it was a year ago or 2 years ago. So I was thinking of names for Porygon Z. I'm like, it's a virus. There was a virus called Heartbleed. Heartbleed the Porygon Z. And with the final pick. Not the actual final pick of the draft, but with my final pick in the UAL draft, I was 122nd overall. This Pokemon was still hanging there. I'm like, absolutely taking it. It's Dragonite. I had enough points. I got 80 points back because I took Mega Camera up, so I'm like, yeah, I'll take a tier 1. So I took Dragonite. Dragonite is our... Do I need to say anything about Dragonite? It's a goddamn Dragonite. It gets great coverage. It gets priority. It has an amazing ability in multi-scale. You give it a weakness policy, Dragon Dance, that thing's gonna sweep your team with extreme speed. That's it. I don't need I say more. It can do other things. It can be bulky. It takes every kind of hit except for probably Dragon and Fairy and Ice hits, which if you can probably guess around those. But the Ice hurts, but you can make it bulky enough. It's got great stats. Its stats are just so balanced. You can do anything with the Dragonite. I don't understand why it never gets drafted. And I'm like, well, maybe it probably doesn't get drafted because of the speed, but that fits with the rest of my team. My whole team has like the most mediocre speed. Why not just take it and just fill it in? It's got priority though. That'll be nice. Dragonite's gonna be around a lot because it gets priority, and a lot of my team doesn't get priority. Oh my god, I'm scared. And Dragonite's nickname is actually going to be Kinshasa. And every time Dragonite gets a kill, if you don't know the reference, it's actually a wrestling term, wrestling thing. There's a guy named Corey Graves on WWE, NXT, and he likes to yell out the finishing move of a guy named Shinsuke Nakamura. He yells like, Kinshasa! So every time Dragonite gets a kill this season, we are going to yell out Kinshasa, and I'm just going to put the sound effect in right. Kinshasa! But there it is. That is your Toronto Smeargles, my first ever draft format team. I am scared to death because the guys who were putting together the teams really knew what they were doing. They put together some really good teams, and I think I might just get bodied this year, but we're going to have to find out and see. But I'm looking forward to it just because I picked a lot of mons I really want to use. So yeah, let me know what you think of the team in the comment section down below. You can tell me it's slow. I already know it's slow. So you're not telling me anything I don't know. Yeah. Okay, make sure to leave a like or dislike on the video just because I need the support. I love the support, man. But yeah, I'm going to get the heckles out of here. If you don't mind, I have to go prepare for my first match with the Sacremento Kinglers. It's actually a really clever name. I should have thought of that. Bye!